In this video, you'll learn how to use the Automatic Mesh Settings macro in ANSYS Icepak to define global and per-object mesh settings for critical object types. This macro can be used by both new and advanced Icepak users to quickly create reasonable first-cut mesh settings. The Automatic Mesh Settings macro modifies the global and per-object mesh settings for select object types. In the model shown, these object types include fans, blocks that dissipate power, a heatsink, walls, and a grill. Additional supported objects that are not included in this model are blowers, 2D sources, heat exchangers, and openings. First, I'll open the Automatic Mesh Settings panel. The Automatic Mesh Settings panel was designed to minimize user inputs and has 3 resolution options: coarse, medium, and fine. In addition to modifying individual per-object mesh parameters, the resolution options also define 3 settings that can be found in the Global Mesh Control panel. These are minimum elements and gap, minimum elements on edge, and maximum size ratio. You can view the coarse, medium, and fine resolution values for the global and per-object parameters in a text file by clicking the Help button. Later on, I'll compare all 3 resolution options. I'll start by selecting Coarse and clicking Accept to begin the meshing process. Once meshing is complete, I can open the Mesh Control panel to display the mesh. The coarse resolution has provided a mesh with approximately 115,000 elements. On the Display tab, I'll toggle on Display Mesh and show the surface mesh for all objects in the model, except for the cabinet walls. To view the per-object parameter values that were applied, I'll go to the Local tab on the Mesh Control panel and click Edit. Note the X, Y, and Z element count set by the Automatic Mesh Settings macro on the DDR1 object. If desired, I could modify these values and generate a new mesh using the main Mesh Control panel. Thus, the Automatic Mesh Settings macro can be used to create a first-cut mesh that can be manually tweaked by advanced users to achieve greater mesh control. Now I'll create a mesh using the Fine Resolution option, which yields about 450,000 elements. Notice that the per-object parameters for the DDR1 object are now different. We can see that the mesh count increases as we change the resolution from coarse to medium to fine. Here we can see a visual comparison of the surface mesh between the coarse, medium, and fine resolutions. When working in your next Icepak project, consider taking advantage of this productivity macro. This concludes this demonstration of how to use the Automatic Mesh Settings macro in ANSYS Icepak.